So last week, Hurricane Sandy hit the Northeast, and I've got a lot of friends and some really dear friends up in that area, and one of them is my friend Diana. And Diana is a single mom, and her son, Brian, who is in his 30s, is about a 300-pound dude, real tall, big guy, has some mental challenges where, depending on the day, his mentality is anywhere from 3 to 6 years old. And so when a 3-year-old throws a tantrum, you say, don't do that. And if they're pounded on your leg, you say, well, come here, little person, let's put you in timeout. When a little bitty lady has a 300-pound man who's a 3-year-old who throws a temper tantrum, she goes to the emergency room. And so to say that we were afraid for Diana was an understatement. And with the way that her son Brian works, as long as his schedule is exactly what it's supposed to be, he does pretty good. But you interrupt that schedule and he goes berserk. Now, enter in Hurricane Sandy. Suddenly no electricity. Suddenly no TV, no computer, none of the things that he does throughout his day, and no ability to call 911 if he goes berserk and she gets hurt. No way to get anywhere, no way to do anything. And so I was on the phone with Diana and asking what I could do to help. Can we get you in a hotel? Can we get you this? Can we get you that? And she said, no, there's other people who have it worse than I do. And I said, well, you know, let's pray about this. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do this. And we talked in this group about setting powerful intentions, about working with God, and also about the power of setting time deadlines. That in those time deadlines, they sometimes help to change that manifestation and make it more real. And I said, okay, Diana, here's the deal. We'll give God till 4 o'clock to make a miracle happen. And if God hasn't come up with a miracle by 4 o'clock, then we're going to get you a hotel room. And she said, okay, fair enough. You twisted my arm because I kept just going and going and going. And 3:57, she called me up. She said, my sister just called. She just got power turned back on to her house, and she's on her way over to get me and Brian. And we said, go God. Now, yesterday I spoke with Diana, and Diana is back in her home. The electricity is back on, and she's back in her home. And that was really cool. Well, this guy in the backyard came to her house and said, you don't know me, my parents live behind you. We see that you have power, we don't have power yet. I live in this part of Long Island, and 3 days ago I lost everything. My house is gone, my cars are gone, my everything is gone. And so I came here to stay with my parents. I have my wife and my 2 infant children. Is there any way that we could possibly run an extension cord from your house over to my house to at least power a space heater and a refrigerator? And she said, oh yeah, of course, blah, blah, blah. And so she's helping this guy, and they're running extension cords. And Diana has a very old house, so it kept popping the circuit. It just couldn't take it. And so this man and Diana went to all of her neighbors and said, well, I can run one extension cord if you can run one extension cord, if you can run one. And so here's this house with 5 extension cords from 5 different neighbors running to it to run a space heater, a lamp, and a fridge. Now here's this man and his wife and their 2 infant children and his elderly parents all huddled in this one room, and so grateful and so thankful that they had light, that they had heat, and that they could eat. And Diana was talking with this man who seemed extremely chipper, just chipper. And she said, not that I'm complaining, but how can you be in such good spirits? She said, you've lost everything. I mean, your house is gone. It's not just like they can't find it. It's gone. The contents are gone. The cars are gone. There's not sifting through rubble. There's gone. And he said, I still have my wife, and I still have my kids, and everything else is replaceable. He said, besides, we're New Yorkers, we're Long Islanders, we'll get through this together, the same way we get through everything, together. Which was kind of the inspiration for today's talk. Now, with that, this man managed to after a 6-hour wait, rent a rental car, and after an additional 4-hour wait, be able to put gas in it. Comes home, but rather than going to his home, comes to Diana's home and says, was your son's caseworker able to come over today? And she said, no. She said, I called him and he said he has no gas. So he can't come over to give my son the medicines that he needs and all these things. But he says he's going to try to make it tomorrow. And this man says, I'll be over at 9 o'clock and we'll call that guy. And if he still doesn't have gas, I will drive to him, pick him up, and bring him here. You help me, it's the least I can do is to help you. When I was talking with Diana last night, around midnight, she was in the process of rolling quarters from her change drawer. And I said, what are you doing? And she said, well, I'm praying that the place that takes my son from time to time to take care of him is going to have power again soon and be able to take Brian, because as long as Brian's in the house, I can't change anything, or he goes berserk. She said, but many of my neighbors have made lean-tos out of what used to be their house, that they're camped out underneath trying to stay warm. She said, in my house, I know that I could fit at least 20 people in here. I could get at least 20 of those people into some heat, into some power, and with some food. But I can't as long as my son is here. So I'm praying that this place opens up so they can take Brian for a few days. And God told me to go get some bedding. So I don't have any money. But it dawned on me that I have this change drawer. And so I started rolling my change drawer, and I managed to get $56. And out of that $56, I went to Walmart and I bought 2 air mattresses. Because the instant that they're able to come get Brian, I'm going to go to all my neighbors who are living in the lean-tos of their house because they're expecting another nor'easter to come through in the next day or so. And I hope that they can take Brian before then so that I can pump up these air mattresses and go get my neighbors and say, come on guys, come on. Here, you can come camp at my house. She said, the biggest challenge that I have is wondering which of my kids, which of my neighbors do I invite? Because I have only so much room. And so when I look at what happened with Hurricane Sandy, and when I look at my friend Diana, and that her whole goal, when having literally nothing, was to roll her quarters to go get air mattresses, to be able to have some of her neighbors be able to come indoors and be able to get some sleep and be able to stay warm. Because with that nor'easter that's supposed to come through, I mean, the picture that she painted in my mind, her house was actually okay. It got a few cracks in it that weren't supposed to be, and got some damage from trees bumping into it, but because of her son's medical condition, they put her on the priority list of getting power. So when she got power first, she ran extension cords to all her neighbors, and because she was the only house on the block with power initially. And and like I said, now, as she looks out her windows and she sees I just imagine this house falling down and just the roof being like a tent, and our family huddled underneath that tent, burning our house for food or for heat. And to be able to look out your window and see that and not be able to do anything about it because of her son's condition. But she's preparing already. She's like, I know that God's going to come through, and I know that the same way that God's already taken care of the power, and he took care of the shelter, and he took care of a place to live, he's now taking care that I can be in a place of service to be able to work together with my neighbors. And the whole neighborhood is coming together, and the whole area is coming together. And it's amazing the things that she talked about. It's amazing the things where her mind is. Her 85-year-old mom is still in the house that her dad built, refusing to move, refusing to leave, no electricity. And she says, your papa said nothing is ever going to happen to this house. I'm not leaving. And she says, Mom, you've got no heat, you've got no power, it's freezing. And she said, I got a lot better than some folks who don't have a house. This will be okay, this will pass. And she's looking for ways that she can work together with her neighborhood, with her community, and that whole area, like I said, coming together is just amazing. And So the first thing I want to say is that whatever comes in the tithing plate today and whatever is left in the God box is getting sent up to Diana today. And we're going to help her get some more out there mattresses. We're going to help her get some more food, because in preparation for the storm, she cooked. She's Italian. She had cooked a ton of food, thinking we can get by because we've got this food. That lasted the first 2 days until all that pre-cooked food went bad. And there's no sanitation running, so she had to just go literally throw it out in the street. So we're going to help Diana. We're going to help her effort. We're going to help at least that neighborhood, because together we can do amazing things. So that's part one that inspired this topic of today, is that individually, each of those folks have no hope. There's, as one person, there's not much that can be done. But because they're coming together as a community, they're coming together as an area, that's what gives them the hope. I've lost 3 homes to fire, where you look down and you say, what I'm wearing is what I own. And every single time there was other folks coming to help me that made all the difference. And multitudes of other times I've tried to pay that forward by helping other folks that were in a worse position than I was in. And I know that many of you have done the same thing and continue to do the same thing. And as we're all God's kids, that's part of what we're here to do, is to help each other. Now also, with the message of teamwork, I love my country. I love America. I will bleed red, white, and blue. And every election time, and each election seems to get a little more pulling the place apart, where you got folks on this side really upset with the folks on this side, and the folks on this side really upset with the folks on this side. And on Tuesday, thank goodness, all the political commercials are finally going to be over.
Oh, thank you.
Amen.
And all of the he said, no I didn't, he said, no I didn't, all that stuff's finally going to be gone away. And when I look at my friends up in New York and what's going on with them, it didn't just hit Democrats, it didn't just hit Republicans. In fact, nobody even cares what each other's political affiliation is. Nobody cares what each other's religious affiliation is. Nobody cares about what do you believe, or what do you believe, or who are you going to vote for, or who are you going to vote for, or what color is your skin, or what color is this, or what flavor is that, or do you live in a good neighborhood or a bad neighborhood. It's all rubble. And it's all people saying, I've got it a little better than you do, I'll help. Or you've got it a little better than I do, will you help? And I've got this if you've got that. And if we put my this together with your that, then we all wind up better. And that's what it's all about. And I highly encourage everybody to vote, no matter who you're going to vote for. Vote, 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 because it's our right. And a lot of folks have died and bled for that right. But the next day, regardless who wins, as a country, let's come back together. Let's come back together. Working together, we can accomplish absolutely anything. And it all starts in here. We talk every Sunday about all the changes start inside and work their way outside. And if inside I'm seeing division, then outside I'm going to manifest division. If inside I see unity, then outside I'll also see unity. And so I invite everybody, I ask everybody this week, vote for who you're going to vote for, do it with passion, be excited, but the next day, find the peace in here. Let the together come in here. And let the together come out here. Because as a country, we need it. And as a world, we need it. And to look at it from God's perspective, here's all of his kids on this spinning ball of mud, all seeing, oftentimes, their division. You're an important voter because you're in a swing state. You're a non-important voter because you're in a locked-in state. No, we're all important voters, and we're all Americans. It's not just the Northeast is hit by Hurricane Sandy and they've got real problems up there. I think from God's perspective, if we, and you can make we as big as you want it to be, the we in this room, the we in Florida, the we in the United States, the we in North America, the we in the world, if we're all in the same boat, does it really matter where the hole is? Oh, holes on your side of the boat. That doesn't affect me. I'm fine.
You're still gonna
So
say.
you're still gonna say, dude, there's a hole over here, let's come together and fix it. Because like we saw in that little video earlier, when those people just all working together, accomplishing amazing things, many hands equal light work. And there is no feeling greater than helping other folks. As you're helping yourself, you learn just an amazing amount about yourself. And oftentimes in life, we can get a mindset of us and them. It's us doing this and them doing that. It's us not affected, it's them affected. It's us this and it's them that. But the amazing thing is that as the perspective goes further out, the us and them blur. One thing that I've noticed in this barrage of political ads is, well, I'm a man, but you're a woman, so we're different. But I'm this color and you're that color, so we're different. But I'm of this economic status and you're of that economic status, so we're different. But I live in this state and you live in that state, and we're different. And what I see with that is exactly the opposite. You back up just an ounce, and it's no longer a men's vote or a woman's vote, it's a Florida vote. Oh, well, that's important. Doesn't matter man or woman. But you back up from that, and it's a U.S. vote. Well, we're all Americans. But you back up from that, and it's a world. The things that every country does right now is connected to every other country. And so my point with all this is, from the smallest scale of my friend Diana running extension cords to her neighbors and rolling quarters to get air mattresses for people she doesn't know, to be able to go door to door around, well, rooftop to rooftop around her neighborhood and saying, my house is right there, and I've got electricity, and I've got heat, and I think I've got some food. Come on in, come be safe. We'll get through this together. It's during those times when she talks about her neighbor who is smiling from ear to ear, even though his house and his cars and his everything got washed away, completely gone a couple days ago. Because he says, I still have my wife and I still have my 2 infant children. And thanks to your generosity, I have an extension cord with a space heater. And when we went door to door, and that neighbor put their extension cord, that allowed us to have a fridge. And when this neighbor ran their extension cord, that allowed us a lamp. And I'm so grateful, because together my family can rebuild. And a lot of folks weren't so lucky. It puts in perspective all the things that oftentimes we think are important. And we look at that feeling of togetherness that we actually have, that's so much greater than all of this other stuff. Anybody who's a parent who sees their kid doing something nice for another kid on a playground, that's the moment you shine. When you see one kid stand up for another kid getting bullied, when you see one kid sharing his Halloween candy because another kid didn't get any, when you see your kid doing something really cool like that, that's when you just shine. And I think of us all as God's kids. And so as we do the things where we're helping other of God's kids, I can't help but think that the God inside of us and the God outside of us is smiling through that. Yeah, that's my kid right there. Didn't even know I was looking. Wasn't doing it for brownie points. Wasn't doing it so they could borrow the car on Friday, because look at that neat thing I did. They did it without me even looking at it. Look at that, that is so cool. And that's the feeling that I've had all week as I've been working with Diana and working in my own little way with that group up in New York and Long Island. And it's not that my world is perfect, that because my world is perfect, I can go help you folks. It's because I want to. It's because I feel called to. It's because in my own little way, I'm making a difference in that one little neighborhood, in that one little lady and her neighbors. And if a whole country comes to, if a whole church comes together and does that, if a whole country comes together and does that, And the things that are our diversity, the things that are our challenges, suddenly become our strength. I know that in our own way, we all remember what that feeling is. Maybe we remember it from 5 minutes ago, or 5 days ago, or 5 months ago, or 5 years ago. At some point, we got to have that feeling of working together, and in doing so, creating what we couldn't separately. And last night when Mary was making the cinnamon rolls for today after church, I was looking at that table of ingredients, thinking that's us. Whether we're a bag of flour, whether we're a carton of eggs, whether we're whatever else goes into sugar, you know, all this stuff, like separately, looking at the table, looking at the counter was just a list of ingredients. It was just a bag of this and a thing of that wouldn't have tasted good to anybody. We wouldn't want to have the ingredients sitting on the table. Here, you can down an egg and have a pinch of flour, and here's a little sugar to it. Or
That would be bad.
or maybe you were the gas in the stove, or maybe you were the spark that lit it up. Well, none of us want to eat the gas, and none of us are real stoked about eating the fire. When you put all that together, you get cinnamon rolls. And I was just watching that because she was making that as I was on the phone with Diana in Long Island. And I was looking at the combination of that going, wow. Because that's what our whole neighborhood is doing right now. I've got electricity, but I've got food. But I've got water, but I've got shelter. Let's put my piece together with your piece, together with your piece, and we will accomplish what we couldn't as just a pile of pieces. So I invite everybody this week to look inside themselves and to see how they can work together, rather than separate, whether it's here, whether it's there, whether it's within a family, whether it's within a church, whether it's within a community, whether it's within a country, whether it's a political process, or whether it's within a world. I invite you to find that peace inside yourself, your peace that can connect with other pieces, that together we can not only accomplish more, but we can make our dad smile, whether we know he's paying attention or not.